This is when we hit 14-hour days full of production, so there's no time to rest.
Don't be shy about your love for all things Frozen. We know that you're still hoping for that Frozen 3 announcement, and so are we. You also want answers to the questions that Frozen 2 left hanging. Well, get ready for all new behind-the-scenes secrets. Thanks to the Disney Plus docuseries called Into the Unknown, Making Frozen 2, we finally got the official word on whose voice was calling Elsa to Ahtohallan, and Kristen Bell has revealed how her own real-life struggles had a major influence on Anna's story in the second film. We also find out how the origin of one of the new characters relates to a tragic event in the director's life. Discover more secrets that are uncovered in the docuseries, including fun animation reveals, plus the latest plans for the third installment.
I would like to formally announce Frozen 3.
Frozen 2 left fans with unanswered questions that have caused quite a bit of debate since the movie came out in November 2019. One of the most ambiguous parts of the movie was the voice that Elsa heard calling her.
You hear it too. Somebody's calling us.
It was never clear whose voice it was. Some fans believed it was her mother, Queen Iduna, calling her to Ahtohallan, while others thought it was Elsa's own voice. Some thought that it was a spirit, and some thought that it was Ahtohallan itself. And guess what? They weren't the only ones arguing about it. The 6-part Disney Plus docuseries reveals that the voice calling to Elsa was one of the biggest obstacles for the filmmakers themselves. Less than a year before the release date, they were still debating who the voice belonged to.
With us finally making a decision about the voice, went back and they actually put a reprise in of the lullaby.
Writer and co-director Jennifer Lee admitted that they all had different opinions about it. There were also major struggles with Elsa's song Show Yourself that tied into that uncertainty. In the docuseries, Jennifer explains that they show what they have of the film to a panel every 3 months, and the panel gives them brutally honest opinions. Jennifer admitted,
It can be pretty intense, the feedback.
we see responses like,
I was confused.
It wasn't until 11 months before its release, after one of these showings to Disney Animation Story Trust Group, that the filmmakers all came to a unified decision about the voice. The Story Trust Group is a bunch of creatives from other Disney projects, so they know their stuff. And they were confused about who the voice belonged to, so the filmmakers committed to it being Iduna's voice.
And so we all agreed definitively we're going to answer that the voice is the mother.
Mark Smith, the director of Story, explains that decision
unifies the movie in a way.
By connecting the flashback of young Iduna to the present-day events. And with that decision, it's hard to imagine that the songs we know and love were ever any different, but they go through rewrites too, just like the script. The songwriters adjusted the tune so that it had a new verse.
Solves the song. We're so grateful that you're gonna sing it.
And they added in Elsa asking, "Are you the one I've been looking for?" They also added the voice's call, as well as Iduna's lullaby from the opening of the movie. And they got Evan Rachel Wood, the voice behind Queen Iduna, back into the studio to lay down the vocals.
That bond is just unbreakable no matter what happens.
If they thought that made it crystal clear to the audience, they were wrong. At least we know now for sure. Did you get it right? It's not just Elsa we learn more about in the docuseries, it's also Anna. Or to be more precise, how the voice actor behind Anna poured her own personal struggles into the character's story arc. In September 2018, Kristen Bell told SiriusXM about her influence on Anna's development in the second movie.
There are a lot of very, very intimate moments for me in this movie that are like...
She got involved during a collaborative writing process. The actress explained how Jennifer Lee asked her what she goes through that's similar to the character she voices. And Kristen opened up to Jennifer about a lot of things that she had personally been going through and why she thought that resonated with what Anna would be feeling.
And so that we feel how hard that is, and then even arresting the song when the audience expects it to go.
Jennifer was so inspired, she wrote it into the script. But at the time, Kristen couldn't divulge the details because they were still more than a year away from the movie's release. She explained that she'd be able to say more when the movie came out, but at the time of that interview in 2018, she mentioned specific songs about particular emotions and hurdles in her life and what they taught her.
It's not just episode 2 of this show, it's something you need to see them go through.
In the Making Frozen 2 docuseries, Kristen reveals that Anna's journey and the song The Next Right Thing came out about her own struggles with depression and anxiety. She explains that Anna's mantra of do the next right thing came out of that conversation that she had with Jennifer, and it was about her anxiety and depression. Kristen added that
Do the Next Right Thing, it really is for anyone who is feeling low and struggling and does not know what to do.
Because the only thing you can do at those lowest moments is one step at a time. The actress explained that if she wakes up and is feeling very low, she does the next right thing in a series of small steps. She steps out of bed, she brushes her teeth, she has a cup of coffee, she wakes her kids up, and she says she takes those steps in stages when the world and its problems seem too big to handle.
A song that will affect me in my bones forever.
The Next Right Thing song is important on a personal level for the movie's co-director Chris Buck too. In the docuseries, he reveals how a tragedy in his life that took place at the end of creating the first movie relates to the origin story for one of the new characters in the second movie. The director of the docuseries, Megan Harding, told Collider how they trod carefully when it came to Chris Buck's personal life. She revealed that they weren't going to go there unless he wanted to go there, and Megan feels lucky that Chris felt comfortable enough and was open to share the story of Ryder in the docuseries. She's talking about the tragedy that happened towards the end of production on the first movie. Chris's son Ryder was involved in a road traffic accident and passed away at just 23 years old.
That is a huge moment for me. It's very powerful.
Megan feels that Ryder's story is very much a part of how and why Frozen 2 is the way it is. We learn in episode 3 of the docuseries about how Frozen 2 helped Chris cope with grief. He reveals that
And the rap party was the weirdest thing for me.
Because all night, people were coming up to him saying how much they loved the movie, and then 10 seconds later, they would say how sorry they were for his loss. Chris explains that on a song in Frozen 2, The Next Right Thing reminded him to get back up and keep on. He also spoke about the origin of the character Ryder in the second movie. Chris's co-director asked him if it was okay if they named one of the characters Ryder after his son, and they gave the character more to do in the movie because he's a very light spirit. He's a very positive character who's really fun and hopeful.
Ready? I could use a rehearsal. I love love.
Isn't that a wonderful way to honor Ryder's memory? When we learn more about the filmmakers' personal lives, we get such a deeper insight into the movies than we ever could just by watching the films. Sure, we love finding out about the behind-the-scenes secrets to do with how they create the animation, but discovering the true stories behind the characters, which have been inspired by real-life emotions and experiences, is so fascinating. Both Chris Buck and Kristen Bell have given Frozen fans such a gift by sharing their personal stories. Are you wondering about some of those animation secrets? Mallory Walters, who animated Elsa, revealed how she figured out how to capture Elsa's movements during the song Into the Unknown. She admitted that she'd never animated a character running before, and her boyfriend came up with a fun idea. Mallory revealed,
like videotaping me as I was running, animated her based on my reference.
And her boyfriend captured it on camera from his skateboard. After we see her running along our neighborhood sidewalk, she admits, "I can't believe I just showed that to you guys." Well, we're so glad you did, Mallory. There's been a lot of Frozen news in June 2020, and it's not just about the second movie's secrets. There's also been chatter about the potential for Frozen 3. First up, there's Josh Gad. The voice behind Olaf has given fans hope during an interview with popculture.com. Although he admitted that he doesn't know if and when there will be a third installment, he did reveal that there's a possibility.
Going into this film, that we wanted it to age with the viewers who first experienced this movie in the theaters.
We always love it when actors give us a reason to be optimistic about the future of our favorite franchises. If they've been given the green light by the big bosses to say something like that, then we know it actually is possible. Josh dished about how he teamed up with Disney to bring At Home with Olaf digital shorts to all of us stuck at home in recent weeks.
Yay, you found us.
He explained that it's an example of how the team behind the movies are keen to take the opportunity to bring a sense of hope and inspiration through the characters whenever the need arises. If ever there was a time when we all need some hope, it's certainly during this part of 2020. And we can't help but wonder if this global situation will influence the filmmakers' decision to bring us Frozen 3. After all, we've already seen how the characters have brought hope and inspiration to fans around the world. In the Making Frozen 2 docuseries, animation supervisor Wayne Unton shows us a wall of framed letters that have been sent to the studio. They prove what a profound impact Frozen has had on so many people. He reads one out loud, which says,
"My name is Rachel. I'm 15 years old, and I believe I am Frozen's biggest fan because the song Let It Go literally saved my life last year."
Josh described the Olaf shorts as the Frozen saga continuing even if it wasn't in the form of a third movie yet. He said, "If there's always a story worth telling, I'm sure that Jennifer Lee and the incredible team over at Disney Animation will tell that story one day. Of course there's a story worth telling." And that's not all. At the end of June, Chris Buck spoke with RadioTimes.com about the possibility of another Frozen film. In a Facebook Live Q&A, Chris said that it certainly takes time to consider how to continue the story.
We see what happens at the end, but it's all in support of Anna and Elsa's story.
He revealed that the team was so emotionally and physically spent after the first movie that it took them a year before they even thought about a chapter 2. They all needed a break to regroup and think, and we're not surprised given that they'd spent so many years creating the film. But that doesn't mean that Frozen 3 won't happen. The director said, "Ask us in 5 months." Given that it takes them around 3 years to create the movies, we're looking at quite a wait, even if the threequel gets the green light, but it would definitely be worth the wait. Which behind-the-scenes secret did you find the most interesting? And what do you think the chances are of a third movie in the Frozen saga? Sound off in the comments below and hit that subscribe button to be the first to know when we release more videos on the things. Thanks for watching.